So I'm very pleased to be joined by Rasha Hasaneen, Chief Product and Sustainability Officer at Aspen Technology. Rasha, welcome to Sustainability Week.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And have you been enjoying it? Why did you want to come to Sustainability Week?
I have actually been enjoying it quite a bit. So honestly, for us, sustainability events are really critical. I mean, they're outside of our industry, so events like Sustainability Week allow us to learn from other industries, but also allow us to educate people outside of our industry on the role that we play in driving to net zero. So for us, it's really important that we attend events like this, and this is a great event for that.
Great to hear. Well, next year's our 10th anniversary of Sustainability Week, and so we're using it as a moment to sort of reflect back on the past decade.
Yeah.
What would you say, where have we come in the past 10 years in terms of sustainability within your industry and your work? Do you think we've come a long way, or there's still quite a lot to do, or how would you characterize it?
I would say for our industries, let's talk about it in sort of two places, right? Aspen Technologies is an industrial software company, so we play both in the tech space and in the industrial space. I think in the tech space and the software space, that space has been very sustainability conscious for quite a long time. In the industrial space, I think we're at an inflection point. I think we've come to a point where everybody in the industry understands that the industrial complex, regardless of what that is, whether that's energy or discrete manufacturing or chemicals, all have to play a part. Everybody is starting to think about a net zero commitment, and I think we're really at an inflection point where we're going to start to see decisions that are based in both profitability and sustainability coming to fruition, but it's still kind of early stages.
So obviously everyone's talking about AI and the role that AI can play in combating climate change. What would you say to that? What is the role of AI in combating climate change, and particularly in the industrial processes that you're working in?
Right, and that's a great question. And what's unique, I think, about this moment in time is that we're in this kind of perfect storm of, a tipping point for sustainability, a tipping point for AI, and all being realized in the industrial space. Maybe let's step back and talk about sustainability in general, right? One of the things that has really hindered us from moving further along in the climate sort of journey is how complex modeling climate is and modeling sustainability outcomes are. And so we think about, there's multiple scenarios, multiple climate scenarios, multiple energy scenarios. And the reason we have that is because in order for us to be able to model it effectively with the tools we had, you had to make a number of simplifying assumptions. And every time you made an assumption, if it was different from a different assumption, you got a different outcome. What AI brings us, and I think what really is going to change, and it is that between AI and the underlying increase in compute power that we have, both with traditional compute coming more and more online, but also with quantum compute, is the ability to get actual real answers without as many simplifying assumptions, and seeing a lot of these scenarios start to converge to an outcome that people can get behind. And I think the biggest objection I hear about kind of where we are with climate is, well, there's all these scenarios, and this scenario is more dire than that scenario, and it takes away from the credibility, I think, of the challenge that we have, and I think AI will absolutely propel that forward. The second piece of this is really in the day-to-day, like what is AI going to change in the day-to-day? Look, AI has been around for a lot of years. The progress we've seen is in AI. Some of the breakthroughs we've had in sort of general AI, generative AI, deep learning, et cetera, is really making AI a lot more accessible to people, a lot more understandable. And as a result, there's demand for that kind of technology, which then allows people like us to be able to then be a little bit more aggressive in terms of putting in more advanced features and seeing that adoption. It's never really been about including AI in our solutions. It's about demand for that, that level of sophistication. And so we'll see software tools get smarter, more effective, and in the industrial space, that means better outcomes, better energy efficiency, lower emissions, and just new processes that we weren't able to model in the past, we can now model and execute because we have this new capability.
And so, just to follow that up a little bit, in the industrial complex, where do you think AI is going to have the biggest impact? Is it in the manufacturing process? Is it in sort of streamlining things? Is it in better planning? You mentioned energy efficiency. Where would you say are sort of the biggest, most impactful areas that you think AI?
I think all of that. I think all of that. I think the co-pilot concept, which is really emerging, is going to simplify how people do their jobs. I mean, people talk about, AI taking over our jobs. I don't think that's the case at all. I think what it is a lot of these jobs are hard. They're really hard. And again, we make these simplifying assumptions. We simplify things so that we can do the work. AI allows people to do their jobs better and more effectively. So from that perspective, I think AI will play a very big role. But even when you think about automated systems, you see some of these massive factories that are highly automated. AI can then play a part in better optimizing those processes, better optimizing control systems. So even when something is highly automated, it doesn't mean it can't be more efficient. And then I think the other place that AI really plays a role is in these complex systems. When you get out of the individual plant and you start to think about value chains, value systems, the ability to optimize across the system, because now you have the ability to handle all that complexity, is going to make a big difference. For a lot of individual process, we're going to start to get to the physical limits of those processes. So a lot of the optimization, a lot of the benefit we get is actually in these systems in between processes, where today they don't even talk. And I think that's where AI is going to be the most powerful. It's going to bring together these disparate systems in a way that allows us to really optimize at a scale that we haven't seen before.
Really interesting to create more of an ecosystem and be able to sort of manage it and track it and tweak
and
it
have
and
it be
optimize
more harmonious and more connected, and you have fewer bottlenecks and fewer gaps, and I think that's really where AI is going to play a big difference.
What about, so we recently at Economist Impact did a project on green skills, right? Looking at sort of demand for green skills, how is supply meeting demand, how's that going to change? How do you think about, or have you noticed how skills are changing in terms of, with AI coming on, more advanced capabilities there, what impact is that having on the sort of skills that either you need at Aspen Technology or your clients need to be able to utilize these technologies?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's, again, this is sort of the perfect storm, the confluence of these two areas, which is, I think what we're seeing is a desire by the average employee, by people, to be connected to a higher purpose. And therefore, they're building their skills in the area of these green skills because they want to be connected to the journey of sustainability that we're on. And I see that a lot. I see people upskilling, taking classes and certificates in sustainability. And for us, that's great, because what that means is new processes, new ideas coming in that allow us to help our customers be more successful. We also have this area, and we're very fortunate in that, software is still cool, right? And with AI, we see a lot of people with an interest in learning and upskilling in the area of AI. And what's great about digital skills, and you saw that, really in the last couple of decades, in India and in other countries that have really upskilled their workforce in the digital space, you can be anywhere and do that kind of work. You can be anywhere and work in the software industry. And so you no longer need to be connected to a physical process like in the agricultural space or the manufacturing space. And so I think it really opens the door for really the world population to participate in a very different way. And that means a lot when you start to think about the global south and emerging economies, when they're saying, look, how do we be part of this journey and bring our people out of poverty? AI software in general as an industry is a great opportunity there, and it is really the great equalizer, right? It's the frontier where you can see more gender parity, you can see more diversity, right? Because again, you can do it from anywhere, and you can learn it almost anywhere online.
Well,
exactly. Yeah. And the more you get to natural language processing, the easier it's going to be for people to contribute.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
As you say, it's an inflection point. I think you're doing really interesting, fascinating things at Aspen Technology.
Yeah.
So Rasha Hasaneen, thank you so much for joining us at Sustainability
And thank you for
Week.
having me. Thank you. This is great. This is fabulous. Thank you.